On the glittering rooftop of Sterling Tower, where 1,000 elegant lights twinkled like distant stars against the Manhattan skyline, the annual gala pulsed with energy and extravagance. Alexandra Sterling, the poised and platinum-haired chief executive officer, stood tall in her striking crimson gown that hugged her figure like a second skin. Her lips curled into a sharp, disdainful smile as her gaze landed on William Carter, the quiet janitor who lingered unobtrusively near the sleek display helicopter. In front of hundreds of sophisticated guests, she hurled her cutting words like a dagger, her voice laced with mockery that sliced through the evening air. "Go ahead and fly this helicopter right now," she declared, "and I will marry you." Laughter rippled through the crowd, sharp and unrelenting, but in William's steady, deep brown eyes, there flickered a profound secret, a depth that no one in the room could yet fathom. The warm September breeze carried the luxurious aromas of fine perfumes and bubbling champagne, mingling with the hum of conversation among New York's most influential figures on the 40th floor rooftop. Alexandra commanded the space effortlessly the instant she emerged from her private elevator. At 34 years old, she had not only inherited her father's sprawling billion-dollar aerospace empire, but also his unyielding ambition and demand for flawless excellence. Her platinum blonde hair cascaded in gentle waves, shimmering like liquid moonlight under the lights. Those piercing ice-blue eyes had reduced seasoned executives to stammering nervousness in high-stakes meetings. This evening, her form-fitting red dress featured a daring plunge at the neckline, every detail crafted to radiate authority and an aura of invincible allure. She glided through the throng of admirers like a monarch surveying her domain, offering polite smiles that masked the emptiness behind them. Beneath her impeccable facade, Alexandra wrestled with invisible torments. Her father's legacy cast a long, oppressive shadow. Even 3 years after his retirement, no merger she orchestrated, no breakthrough she championed, no triumph she secured felt sufficient to validate her place at the helm. The isolation of wielding such immense power had hardened her heart, transforming her quick wit into a shield she used to lash out mercilessly at anyone who dared approach too closely. Far across the expansive rooftop, largely ignored amid the sparkle and splendor, William Carter went about his duties with methodical care, emptying waste receptacles and polishing surfaces until they gleamed. At 36, he towered at 6 feet 2 inches, his broad shoulders straining against the fabric of his simple grey uniform. His hands, marked by old scars and rough calluses, handled each task with a surprising elegance and precision. The harsh glow from the service lights had tanned his skin deeply over time, and faint lines etched the corners of his dark, thoughtful eyes that held stories of profound loss and quiet resilience, stories that the elite guests never paused to notice. His uniform was worn and faded, the company emblem barely visible on the pocket, and his boots had been repaired more than once, his jeans mended at the knees. Yet William moved with an innate sense of self-respect, never hurried, never drawing eyes to himself. To the partygoers, he blended into the background like essential but forgettable scenery. They failed to observe how his gaze occasionally drifted toward the helicopter on display, a magnificent Augusta Westland valued at $8 million, or how his fingers subtly flexed, as if remembering the feel of controls long untouched. This rooftop transformation had been Alexandra's proudest achievement, evolving a basic helipad into the city's premier venue for exclusive events. Tonight's celebration marked Sterling Industries' groundbreaking acquisition in advanced aviation technology. The helicopter perched like a treasured artifact on the sturdy platform, its shiny exterior mirroring the vibrant city lights below. Bankers rubbed shoulders with innovative entrepreneurs, while glamorous models struck poses for eager photographers. Servers in crisp white gloves offered flutes of premium champagne, and a refined string quartet filled the air with the timeless melodies of Mozart. Every element was meticulously orchestrated, flawless and commanding, precisely as Alexandra insisted. The initial crack in the evening's perfection appeared when Marcus Webb, the company's lead pilot, suddenly grasped at his throat in distress. His face flushed deep red, then shifted to an alarming purple as he struggled for breath. Despite rigorous allergy protocols, he had somehow ingested shrimp, triggering a severe reaction. He crumpled to the ground, his body shaking violently as his airway swelled shut. The emergency medical team swiftly carried him toward the service elevator, while guests recoiled in shock and whispers spread like wildfire. Alexandra's meticulously planned night began to unravel. The reserve pilot, located in Queens, reported being trapped in gridlocked traffic from a major accident on the Brooklyn Bridge with no movement for miles. Compounding the chaos, weather forecasts revealed an unforeseen storm barreling in from the Atlantic, with winds already whipping at 40 knots and intensifying. The helicopter had to be relocated immediately, not only to safeguard it from the gale, but because a critical medical evacuation chopper from Manhattan Presbyterian was mere minutes away, transporting a patient in dire need of a heart transplant. The display aircraft obstructed the sole landing area. The head of security, James Morrison, approached Alexandra with visible anxiety, beads of sweat forming on his brow in the chilly air. "Ma'am, we must move that aircraft without delay," he urged. "If the medevac cannot land, the patient will not survive." Alexandra's expression hardened, her composure fracturing as hundreds of eyes turned to her, phones capturing every moment of the unfolding drama. It was then that she noticed William Carter positioned close to the helicopter, examining it with an intensity she could not decipher. The sheer ridiculousness of a janitor appraising her multi-million-dollar machine ignited a defensive cruelty within her, a desperate urge to shift the spotlight of humiliation elsewhere. She strode purposefully across the rooftop, her high heels echoing sharply against the surface like rapid gunfire. "Listen up, janitor," she proclaimed loudly, ensuring her words reached every ear in the hushed space. "This is your moment to shine. Take this helicopter into the air right this instant, and I will become your wife. Prove to all these people that you amount to more than the person who disposes of our garbage." The audience burst into uneasy chuckles, relieved for any diversion from the mounting crisis. Several guests lifted their devices, anticipating a spectacle bound for social media fame. "What is the matter? Afraid you cannot tell which way is up?" William turned slowly to meet her gaze, and for the first time, Alexandra glimpsed something unsettling in those profound eyes that forced her to hesitate a flicker not of rage or shame, but of compassion, perhaps even sorrow for her. Without uttering a single word, he brushed past her and approached the helicopter. The crowd's amusement swelled as he ascended into the pilot's seat, turning the situation into impromptu theatre far more entertaining than any scripted event. The irony delighted them, the lowly worker pretending to command a machine amid a genuine emergency. Yet as William's hands danced across the dashboard with effortless expertise, the mood shifted. He adjusted the seat for optimal positioning, inspected the cyclic and collective controls, his fingers locating every button and gauge instinctively. The chuckles diminished as he powered up the systems, the cockpit displays illuminated in perfect order navigation, communications, engine indicators all activating with the seamless proficiency of a seasoned expert. He donned the headset and spoke into the microphone with composed authority. "Sterling Tower helipad calling Manhattan Air Traffic Control, requesting urgent emergency takeoff clearance. Incoming medical flight requires the pad to be vacated immediately." Alexandra's triumphant sneer vanished, replaced by stunned disbelief. The confident grip on the controls, the precise aviation jargon, the unwavering assurance in his actions, this was no novice fumbling in pretense. Guests with aviation knowledge exchanged wide-eyed looks. Veterans in attendance stood taller, recognizing the unmistakable poise of a fellow warrior. Within the confined cockpit, William's hands shook briefly as long-buried instincts clashed with heartbreaking memories. It had been 7 agonizing years since he last occupied a pilot's position, 7 years since the devastating call that shattered his existence. His wife, Sarah, had perished in a commercial plane crash blamed on pilot mistake, though William knew the truth ran deeper. He had been deployed on perilous combat flights while she met her end in what should have been a routine journey. The overwhelming guilt had nearly consumed him. At her funeral, he had vowed to their 5-year-old daughter, Audrey, who clutched her mother's photograph with tiny, trembling hands, that he would never fly again. He would remain earthbound, present for every milestone, every celebration, every tearful night. He exchanged his pilot's wings for cleaning tools and a humble uniform, because nothing, not fame, not fortune, could compare to being there for his child. But now, with a stranger's life teetering on the edge and the medevac helicopter's lights flashing desperately in the stormy sky, William confronted a heart-wrenching dilemma: shatter his sacred promise to preserve a life, or honor his word and allow tragedy to claim another. Through the windshield, he spotted the approaching chopper, its urgency palpable. 40 seconds remained before it would be forced to reroute to a distant facility. 40 seconds that spelled doom for the patient strapped inside. Resolve hardened in his features. "Please forgive me, my sweet girl," he murmured softly. Then he initiated the ignition. The dual engines ignited with a rising whine that crescendoed into a thunderous roar. The downdraft from the spinning rotors scattered crystal glasses, tousled expensive gowns, and disheveled elaborate hairstyles. Guests hurried backward as the machine's raw force became tangible and intimidating. No longer a static exhibit, it was 7,000 pounds of advanced engineering awakening under masterful command. William advanced the throttle with smooth control, sensing the craft lighten on its landing gear. The escalating storm gusts reached 45 knots, unpredictable and fierce, testing even the most skilled aviator. Yet William had navigated Black Hawks through blinding desert tempests in Afghanistan, evacuating injured comrades from firefights where precision meant survival. This challenge was formidable, but within his realm of expertise. The helicopter ascended vertically with impeccable accuracy, hovering 20 feet before seamlessly shifting into forward motion. He executed a sharp left bank, the tilt eliciting gasps from onlookers, yet he cleared the building's edge with ample margin. The flight was a masterpiece of technique, born from countless hours aloft. Alexandra remained rooted in place, her gown fluttering wildly, witnessing the unimaginable. The man she had belittled, whom she had deemed insignificant, piloted her prized asset with the grace of a virtuoso. The mocking laughter had evaporated, supplanted by reverent hush broken only by the intensifying whirl of blades battling the wind. An older gentleman in naval attire suddenly exclaimed, his voice rising above the gale, "Good heavens, that is Captain William Carter. I would recognize that piloting anywhere. He is the hero who rescued those diplomats in Kandahar, flew straight through enemy fire to save 30 civilians trapped in a besieged school." The revelation spread like wildfire. Devices that had filmed a presumed farce now documented legend. One attendee accessed military archives on a tablet, revealing William's younger image, clean-shaven, adorned with medals including the Distinguished Flying Cross and Silver Star. Tales poured forth. A financier recalled news footage of William delivering aid to Haiti post-earthquake in treacherous weather. A physician remembered the pilot who endured 14 hours airborne during Hurricane Katrina, plucking survivors from flooded homes until his tanks emptied. Each anecdote peeled back layers, unveiling the overlooked janitor as an authentic savior. William maneuvered the helicopter to an alternate landing site 3 structures away, countering vicious crosswinds that threatened to hurl him against skyscrapers. His touchdown was feather light, the skid settling with minimal impact. Moments after powering down, the medevac descended onto the liberated pad, its vital passenger granted the gift of time. As William crossed the sky bridge back to Sterling Tower, the assemblage parted respectfully, his sweat-drenched uniform and subtly quivering hands betraying the adrenaline's toll. Yet his poise remained unbroken. Now it was truly seen and admired. Alexandra lingered at the rooftop's perimeter, her ironclad facade finally splintering. As William drew near, she lifted her chin defiantly, grasping for remnants of control. "You remain nothing more than a janitor," she stated, though her tone faltered, devoid of its customary venom. William halted a few feet away, his gaze locking with hers unflinchingly. "Indeed, I am," he replied evenly. "And that janitor just preserved a life, averted a catastrophic lawsuit for your firm, and shielded your guests from a storm-tossed aircraft. My role does not diminish me, Miss Sterling. Tonight, I simply resolved the disorder you created." His words were straightforward, humble, free of arrogance. A profound quiet enveloped them. Then, tentative applause began one person, then another, escalating into a heartfelt ovation. Attendees who typically ignored staff now extended handshakes, offered congratulations, and requested photographs. Alexandra found herself alone in her vibrant gown, her rigid social order disintegrating. But the night's epiphanies continued. Margaret Sterling, Alexandra's 70-year-old mother, observed from her wheelchair by the elevator, her keen eyes narrowing in recognition as she studied William. She propelled herself forward, her voice piercing the festivities. "You are the pilot from Colorado," she declared shakily. 8 years ago, the executive jet that suffered dual-engine failure from a bird strike. The rooftop fell silent once more. "My husband was aboard. You glided it to a safe landing on a highway, saving 14 souls, including his." He always said the pilot vanished before gratitude could be expressed. Alexandra's reality spun wildly. Her father had recounted that miraculous feat, endlessly the emergency landing that granted him 5 additional years before illness claimed him. On his deathbed, he had lamented never locating the savior to offer thanks. That very individual had maintained their buildings for 3 years. The truth crashed over her like a wave, amplifying every instance of her indifference, every slight, every act of disdain toward the man who had extended her father's life. Overwhelmed, her knees buckled, she would have collapsed had William not instinctively reached out, steadying her with the same reliable grip that had once guided a doomed plane to safety. Close now, she discerned the sorrow etched in his features, the burdens of grief she could scarcely comprehend. Still, he supported her with tender care, devoid of reproach, prioritizing her fragility in that instant. "Why?" she breathed, tears flowing freely for the first time since her father's passing, tracing paths through her makeup. "Why remain silent? Why sweep floors when you could command corporate flights for fortunes?" William's response was heartfelt and uncomplicated. "My daughter requires a present father far more than a wealthy one. After losing my wife, I swore to stay grounded for her. Every occupation holds honor, Miss Sterling. I selected one that allows me to share meals, assist with studies, and ensure she sleeps peacefully. No sum of money justifies absence from those moments." The gathering listened in rapt silence, the wind the only accompaniment. Alexandra gathered her strength, dabbing at her eyes and streaking her flawless appearance. When she addressed the crowd, her voice resonated, captured by numerous recordings. "I am deeply indebted to you, Mr. Carter, not solely for this evening, but for 3 years of unwarranted disdain. You preserved my father's existence, bestowing 5 irreplaceable years upon me, and I responded by deeming you unworthy. I was profoundly mistaken, and I apologize sincerely." Uttering those admissions stripped away her defenses, her image, her invulnerability, her worldview. Yet in their release, a warmth began to melt the ice within her. William inclined his head thoughtfully. "Your apology is accepted, Miss Sterling. We each bear our scars in unique ways. Yours armored you, mine rendered me unseen. Perhaps this night alters that for us both, regaining her professional edge amid the vulnerability. Alexandra continued. Sterling Industries requires a director for aviation safety, an individual versed in both mechanics and the human aspects of flight. The role includes a 7-figure compensation, comprehensive perks, and adaptable scheduling for family. I extend it to you. The audience inhaled collectively, envisioning a storybook conclusion. The humble worker ascending to power. Gently, William declined. I am grateful, but my current position suits me. That said, I would contribute as a consultant during evenings and weekends, when my daughter visits her grandmother. I am intimately familiar with your fleet and the pitfalls that claim lives. My insights could prevent tragedies. His refusal, rooted in unwavering values, earned deeper respect than acceptance ever could. Alexandra acknowledged with a nod, then addressed the lingering jest. My earlier vow remains. If you piloted, marriage would follow. Light, awkward chuckles ensued. William's smile emerged, warm and authentic, the first true one of the night. We both recognize that as scorn, not sincerity. I release you from it. Moreover, his expression softened further. My daughter holds my heart exclusively until she is ready for me to seek companionship anew. Alexandra experienced a rare surge of pure respect. This man could have exacted revenge, forcing her hand for public spectacle, yet he extended unmerited mercy. The event gradually revived, but irrevocably transformed. Patrons engaged genuinely with servers and guards, the divisions Alexandra had enforced dissolving. William lingered another hour, sharing tales of his aerial exploits with captivated listeners, no longer defined by his job, but by his humanity. As the night waned, he headed for the service elevator to retrieve Audrey from her grandmother's. Alexandra intercepted him, now in casual jeans and a cozy sweater, her executive persona shed. Thank you for my father, for this chaos, for sparing me utter ruin when justified. William regarded her thoughtfully, perceiving the solitude beneath her achievements. Second opportunities are gifts, Miss Sterling. Their value lies in our actions thereafter. The doors closed, leaving Alexandra in the dim hallway, her perspective forever shifted. The man she had scorned embodied greater elegance than she had ever mustered. Her task now, to merit the kindness he bestowed. At home, Audrey awaited by the window, her face illuminating as his vehicle arrived. She launched into his embrace, her dark curls echoing her mother's brushing his cheek. Daddy, you have the scent of adventure, she observed innocently. Was work exciting? Settling her on the sofa, he explained gently. Occasionally, we must bend vows to aid others. Tonight, I flew to save a very ill person. Does that trouble you? Audrey pondered, then shook her head decisively. Mommy would approve. She taught that kindness matters most. And you returned, Daddy. You always do. He embraced her fiercely, emotion welling. Forever, my love. Always. Tucking her in, the doorbell chimed. Alexandra stood at the threshold, clutching a thick envelope, appearing vulnerably human in the modest setting amid toys and family portraits. Forgive the intrusion, she said, absorbing the warmth of his home. This is for you. Inside, charters for the William and Sarah Carter Foundation for Aviation Safety, seeded with $10 million from her own wealth. It would fund emergency training, aid for bereaved families, and scholarships for transitioning veterans. This is overwhelming, William murmured, touched. It is essential, she countered. I erected barriers, belittling others with my influence. Now I choose elevation. Spotting Audrey in pajamas, the child asked bluntly, "Is that the unkind lady from Daddy's job?" Alexandra knelt, meeting her gaze. I was unkind, but your father revealed that true strength lies in compassion, not position. Audrey patted her hand reassuringly. Mistakes happen. Fixing them counts. Alexandra's composure softened, revealing raw emotion. Your father is wise beyond measure, and you are fortunate indeed. As she rose to depart, Audrey whispered to William she seemed sad and alone. Invite her for hot chocolate. Their eyes met, a spark of mutual understanding. William saw her hidden loneliness. She glimpsed his chosen riches in affection and fulfillment. Care to join us, Miss Sterling? Audrey's cocoa is legendary, complete with tiny marshmallows. Her smile bloomed, real and tentative. It has been 2 decades since hot chocolate. And please, call me Alex. In the cozy kitchen, the billionaire leader and the dedicated janitor shared steaming mugs poured by a delighted 7-year-old, who regaled them with tales of school and projects. Alexandra laughed freely, a sound long absent from her life. As Audrey slept, the adults conversed on the porch under faint stars. Your consulting could transform our safety measures, Alex shared, but your outlook might reshape our entire ethos, valuing individuals over mere gains, William considered. If we proceed, integrity guides us, safety paramount, then prosperity. I would involve fellow veterans who know the stakes of high-risk fight. Anything required, she affirmed, then added reflectively, I lost sight of my father's vision: aviation to unite, not dominate. Guide me back. Transformation demands vulnerability, he replied. Acknowledging harms, striving unseen, I have an exceptional mentor, a janitor, who proved worth stems from treatment of others, as her car departed. William pondered life's twists, from obscurity to influence, yet his core vow to serve endured. Morning brought frenzy. Viral clips headlined Janitor unmasked as battlefield legend and executive humbled by unsung champion. William disregarded the buzz, prioritizing Audrey's breakfast and braids. At the company, Alex convened all personnel, apologizing broadly to overlooked workers, unveiling the foundation and dignity mandates. The hero janitor catalyzed cultural evolution. 3 months on, William oversaw the new safety hub, mentoring veterans on simulators he co-designed. Walls honored fallen aviators, Sarah's image prominent. Audrey studied nearby, Alex visited often, forging bonds with the child who rekindled her humanity. Family-style dinners became routine, mending fractures into chosen kinship. On the gala's anniversary, Alex addressed staff and kin on the rooftop, William at her side as equal collaborator. I once equated power with superiority, she confessed. William revealed it as empowerment. Humility outshines arrogance, character defines us, he added. Alex showed redemption's possibility, forgiveness's strength. Wounds can refine if we allow. Sunset bathed them in warm hues as Audrey linked their hands, uniting realms. The helicopter symbolized renewal, overlooked souls as saviors, honor in all labor, grace in unforeseen bonds. William had mourned his initial joy with Sarah, believing flight and future lost. Yet existence granted redemption's authentic, hard-won, bridging sorrow and hope. Lights flickered below as the trio entered arm in arm, a pilot rediscovering heights, a leader embracing heart, a child proving love's supreme value. Their story, woven from pain and kindness, promised enduring warmth and shared tomorrows.